This episode is brought to you by the outstanding shows of the You Run Podcast Network. From TV to true crime and everything in between, the network is your home of entertainment. So don't delay. Join in with the fun at yourunpodcast.com today.
We have a joke today that transcends show boundaries. Why didn't Joe Exotic ever release a Christmas song?
I don't know why.
Because he fucking hates carols.
How did I not get that?
I have no idea.
It's Christmas time, it's the time to be afraid. It's Christmas time, it's time to talk about being named. And on this podcast of horror, we will spread a little fear. Watch a horror movie now and grab a beer. And then Scott mentions the actress's boobs, followed by Mark saying, come on, dude. This is the place to have fun and say a curse or two. You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. Watch a horror, do it now, it's Christmas time. Watch a horror, do it now, it's Christmas time. Watch a horror, then listen to a great fun review. Run God's Christmas. Do it now, it's Christmas time. Do it now, it's Christmas time. Watch a horror, then listen to a great fun review. Run God's Christmas. You Run Podcast Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Hello, and welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. Christmas edition. Another Christmas edition. My name's Scott.
My name is Mark.
Are you feeling Christmas now? Are you full in? You've got a hat on and everything. I'm guessing you're full in now.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I am. I've been in for maybe 6 weeks now. I put my tree up weeks and weeks and weeks ago. I've got a 4-year-old now, and she's the giddiest ever. And they're doing it's her nativity this year, and I've never been to a child's nativity before, especially one of my own. Anyway, so I'm very, very excited about that. Yeah, it's very cute, very sweet. She's all into it, and I'm just there for the ride, man. I'm well on board.
Yeah, Christmas is good with the magic. Like our kids are at the age now where that magic's starting to die. Like we do Elf on a Shelf. And every morning there's like, they look at what the elves have done. They look at me. They look back at the elves. They look at me. And I can see that they're processing. That is the sort of thing that Dad would make the elves do. Like that's where they're at. And I think
we don't do that. I think she'd be terrified. I think we would cause her to have nightmares if she thought that her toys were coming alive in the night. I mean, she owns one of them. She plays with it, but she doesn't. We don't do the elf on the shelf concept thing with it just yet.
One of the things one of our friends does is absolutely fantastic. They don't have Elf on a Shelf, and they were asked their kids like, why don't we have Elf on a Shelf? Everyone has Elf on a Shelf. And they turned around and said, well, we're Harry Potter fans and we don't believe in having house elves. We don't believe in slavery. So we don't have one.
Excellent.
And this kid's like, yeah, okay, great. Honestly, if there's any parents listening who haven't started Elf on a Shelf, don't do it. Like every night, like tonight, we're going to record, I don't know, a couple of hours, probably more. And when I'm finished, I need to go and find something for the elves to do when I'm 6 beers deep. It's just not a good thing every night.
No. Well, to be fair, man, I mean, we have advent calendar, but I'm not against the idea of my daughter having a chocolate advent calendar. It's just I don't like the routine of her waking up and eating chocolate every morning for breakfast. So we have like an actual one with loads of pockets in it, and then we fill it with various things like treats or puzzles or things like that she can do. So I have to do that every single night before I go to bed to set it up for the next day. And that, again, I'm not saying I'm torturous dad and my kid can't have chocolate. She can. It's just she's 4 years old, and I don't think eating chocolate for breakfast every day is a good idea. She can have one when she gets a bit older. But yeah, I'm a bad dad, aren't I? Not letting her have chocolate.
I didn't want to say it.
As if to say you monster. Like she still gets chocolate in it, but she just gets like a chocolate in it maybe once every other day or maybe once every third, fourth day. You know, I just don't like the idea of her waking up and having chocolate every morning. It sends her nutty, man. you remember when he was at school and he was like, "Don't eat the purple Smartie because it's got too many E numbers in it"?
Yeah,
Like, that's what my kids like after eating chocolate. She goes wild, man, and I'm like, "No, I can't do this in the morning."
she goes and sees all her friends. They're like, "Yeah, I got a little Santa on mine this morning. I got a reindeer." She's like, "Well, I got trail mix. That's what I got this morning, and a fucking puzzle. That's what I got this morning."
No, the cool stuff, man. The cool stuff. She gets cool stuff. She gets toys in it and things like that. Things that she'll actually enjoy and play with and stuff. So, yeah,
Okay.
it probably cost me like 5 times the amount as a normal Cadbury's advent calendar would do if I went and did
Yeah.
it. But I know I have to be creative and put various things in throughout the week. And it takes a lot of time and effort, man. I instantly regretted doing it after day 3.
It does. And speaking about being creative, this is a creative show. We're an interactive horror movie review show where you pick the movies, you get to play along with interactive games. We do quizzes and other fun games that you can play along while you listen. You can get in touch with the show, send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voicemail on X or Instagram. Do that with the voice note feature in the DMs. We currently have a competition on the go. We're in the closing stages of this, but you can still enter. Leave us a 5-star review anywhere, Apple or Spotify. Screenshot it and DM it to me, and you'll be entered. If you've already done that, leave a comment on Spotify on one of the episodes, and we'll enter you to the draw. First episode back in the new year. Big fun, spinny wheel. We'll pick a winner, and you will win 3 pieces of merchandise from our store. And we're constantly adding to our store. So there's a selection of what we have. And I'm wearing mine, and Mark's not putting his head down to wear his t-shirt. There we go. You need to do this
Feels
for
a
the
lot
people.
lower for me today.
If you lifted your chair up.
I think I may have done, yeah.
This is a fun show. We are not overly serious. We don't. If you're looking for something that's very much a cinephile review where we talk about musical score and the depths of the director's mind, this is not the show for you. We are a fun, entertaining show. We thrash out the movie. We give you a synopsis. We tell you what we like, what we didn't like. We do some interactive bits. We give you some facts. We give you some roundups, and we give you some scores. That's how this show works. We've had some really good guests recently. We've not had enough guests this year, but recently we've had some really cool people on. So we had Jim join us.
Why are you gay?
And then oh, Mark.
That gets me every time, man. I just choked on my dear.
And last week we obviously join us.
This ain't Texas. Ain't no holding.
And that's all I could pay a Beyonce without getting copyright strikes left, right, and centre. But there's going to be a lot of guests in 2025, at least one a month, probably more than that. So 2025 is going to be the year of guests, and Broken Spirit is going to be throughout the year. We're going to have a leaderboard, which has already started. Jim's second, Heather's first. Maybe our next guest will be first. Who knows?
Yeah, we've kind of had a bit of a break this year, haven't we? Because the year before that, it was very intense, man. We had like guests every week or every other week for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And man, it's hard. It's hard work with guests because you never know who you're going to get and what the response is going to be to that person. You never know what their audio and visual setup's going to be like. So it was rough, man. And we kind of got to the point where it was like, let's just turn the guests down a little bit. And then now this year, I feel like both me and you have kind of missed that Broken Spirit leaderboard and guest sort of interaction as we've gone along throughout the year.
I mean, we've had some wonderful guests, but we've also had some terrible ones. I'm not going to tell you who they are, and they're not anyone that we know through the podcasting world, but we have had some guests on where after the episode, me and you have just sat there and just looked at each other for like a couple of minutes going, I don't know. What do we say?
Gonna bomb.
Yeah. Christmas is a family time, and this time the Engel family are all getting together. There's a mum, there's a dad, their 2 kids, a grandma who refuses to speak English for the entire movie and then becomes fluent right at the very end. We have cousins, a downtrodden auntie, and an uncle who could literally be the leader of Make America Great Again if they added just one more stereotype to him. Also, Berta from 2.5 Men is there, and I'm not sure who she's meant to be, but she's there too.
She's the auntie of the mum.
Yeah, she's a weird character. We'll talk about her in a bit. Anyway, when families come together, there's arguments. And in this house, those arguments set the perfect requirements to summon a demon by the name of Krampus. Now the family must find a way to work together before the demon and his minions send them all to Christmas hell. Today it's Krampus from 2015. Where do you want to start with this? Because I have no real. I don't sit strongly on either side for this movie. It's a
No, I
Christmas
don't
horror
either. I'll
movie.
be honest with you. It's very mediocre at its best. There's moments of potential throughout, but let's start with some of the good. Let's start with the potential that this film offers. I mean, for me, one of the biggest highlights, without question, is really the casting. I think there is a lot of big names in here, some serious SNL alumni, and all of them deliver performances that I feel this movie doesn't necessarily warrant in many instances. Like, all of them are really, really good, like better than they probably should be for a film like this.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And like the casting's great. I mean, Tony Collette is leagues and bounds above everyone else in this movie for me. And the family dynamic they set up, I find believable because they're all really good actors and actresses. Like that, the family dynamic of Tony Collette and her family and the two kids, like, I buy into that. You've got a bit of a nerdy kid who gets picked on a little bit. You've got the rebellious teenage girl, and that all works for me. The family that doesn't work for me is the auntie and the uncle with their really gruff, aggressive kids. Like, I don't know anyone who has a family dynamic like that. They're very
I do.
toxic. Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, that's one thing that I really, really like about this movie is how relatable I find the presentation of family and the force dynamic of your blood. So you have to, like, I'm a big, strong believer in that family is what you make it, and not necessarily what you're born into. Like, I have like friends that I make my kids call aunties and uncles and so forth. So I'm a big believer in families what you make it. I choose to spend time with the people that I strongly connect with. You know, if you live close enough to me and you were a regular at my house all the time, like my kids would 100% refer to you as Uncle Scott, which sounds really creepy saying Uncle Scott out loud. We'll swiftly move on from that. But the point I'm getting to is
don't linger there. Move. Go.
No, I'm not going to. The point I'm trying to get to is I think that this movie does a good job of showcasing that force dynamic of people who have to spend time together because they're related, even though they're worlds apart from each other in day-to-day life. And it's something that I've always grown up with, knowing, being a bit of an outsider from my family and being like, you guys are not really my cup of tea, which is an awful thing to say. And I know that hearing it out loud, but it's one of them. I don't spend a lot of time with my sisters as much as we see each other regularly, and I spend a lot of time with their kids and things like that. Like, I don't choose to go out of my way to visit my sisters, because that's time I could be spending with people that I actually want to spend time with, that I get on well with, and I have that dynamic with. So I do think family is what you make it, and that's one sort of thing that I always live my life on, is spend time with the people that are important to you, as opposed to the people you're forced to. And this movie showcases that very well for me.
Yeah, but you don't spend time with your sisters for one reason in particular.
You're a monster.
I was wondering when you was going to throw that in there somewhere. You get what I'm saying, though, don't you?
Yeah.
As much as a horrible way of describing it as I've just done, like, you understand the concept that I'm trying to present.
I have a sister. I understand it 110%. We see each other 3 times a year, and every time, like, by the time it's time to leave, we're looking at each other going, "That's enough. We'll see you soon."
Yeah. And, like, I'm not saying I dislike my family in any way. That's not the thing I'm getting at. I love my family, you know, that I've grown up with these people. They are my family. But it's like, you know, when you just go to those, like, family gatherings such as what's presented in this film, and you look around the room and you're like, I have nothing in common with anybody in here.
Yeah. And, like, one of the things I am going to say is I don't think they parent their teenage daughter very well. So there is it's bad weather outside, and, like, it's really bad weather. She's like, I'm just going to walk down the block to my boyfriend's house. So they're like, yeah, okay. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Just let her go out in like blizzard condition weather in just a jumper and a pair of earmuffs, and you're like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but in a way though, man, they don't know there is killer toys on the loose and a giant man horse thing. You know, like they just think it's a strong snowstorm and she's going like 2 houses down.
Yeah, I suppose there is that. I want to talk about how Krampus is summoned. Like,
Yes.
I know a little bit of Krampus lore, and I know that he comes to punish children that don't believe and children that are bad, and he carries them away in his sack, and I get it. But this kid doesn't exactly renounce Santa. He's just fucked off that everyone's picked on him. He's been bullied and beaten, and they read his Christmas letter out loud where he wants his mum and dad to get on again. He's just fucking upset, and he just tore the letter up and threw it out the window. And Krampus
just basically pulls a Kevin McAllister and says, "I wish my family would disappear." That's all he does.
Yeah, and Krampus goes, "Well, that's it. He's on the naughty list. Like he done nothing wrong. Of all the kids there to punish, he is the most honest and genuine and full of love child. But that's the kid that Krampus is like, you're a problem."
Yeah, he's the most purest of heart throughout the entire film. And one thing I did find really good is his acting. I thought he was incredible, and I thought his sister was really good as well in terms of young actors. But again, that just showcases how great the acting is across the board in this movie. They did a good job of casting who they did, and there wasn't anybody in particular that I really had an issue with. And like the grandmother as well, I thought she was fantastic. And it's almost like she has that Casey Spacek. What's the Carrie girl?
Yeah. Sissy Spacek.
She has that kind of, that's it. She kind of has that look to her. And I'm like, I'm sure you must be like someone really famous who's been in lots and lots of movies. But I'll be honest, I didn't put the effort into research it. I just had that thought in my mind.
No, see, I don't think she is. See, I like her character, but I'm annoyed they took the choice for her to speak Austrian. Like, I get it. That's her tie-in to Krampus later. But, like, she speaks English later in the movie. Like, either make her speak English or make her speak Austrian. Don't make her have this, I'm going to speak Austrian all the time to everybody, regardless if you understand. And then all of a sudden drop it and go, yeah, we're in trouble now. This is shit. This is Krampus. And then explain it in English like that. It really got under my skin. I was like, why did you do that?
Yeah, I get it. I'm not bilingual. I don't speak 2 languages. I don't know whether I prefer to speak in one or the other. I don't know. Maybe she just does it because she's in the same mindset as me and she's full of a house full of idiots. He's like, if I just speak my own mother tongue, they won't talk to me. I don't know. Maybe that's the direction she was going for.
And I don't blame her because the family who come to visit are awful. The auntie, Berta, like I didn't realize she's the mum's auntie. She is the absolute worst house guest ever. She just rocks up. She's like, yeah, where's the drink? And then she's like, yeah, I don't really like this food. It's a bit fancy. Like, oh, come on. Like, the mum has slaved.
Again, like I know I have family members like that. I have aunties like that who think like I've grown up in a family household which is built on hierarchy systems where like respect isn't earned, it's demanded based on your place in the sort of timeline of family. And it's one thing that drives me up the wall when it comes to things like that. It's like, because she's sort of the oldest in that situation, barring Omar, I think they call her, or whatever they call her in this movie, the grandma. Because she's like the auntie of the 2 mums, so she's obviously like the mum's sister or whatever it is, however that works, that dynamic. It's like she feels like she demands the respect so she can do what she wants and she can talk what she wants and say what she wants because she's in a certain position within the family tree. Shit like that just really boils my piss, man. It's like, no, you have to earn your respect amongst people and treat people with respect to gain it. And it's like, I can't stand people like that. And I know plenty of people like that and have them in my family. And I'm like, you are a cunt.
See, I don't have many people like that. Well, I do on my side of the family, but we live the other end of the country from them, and I see them at weddings and funerals. That's the only time I see them. So I don't get that. Like Lisa's family are the most loving, accepting family. There's no hierarchy. They are just like this wonderful ball of love, and they just accept everybody in, and they're nice to everyone. So Christmas for us, that I think there's 26 people going to Lisa's mum's for Christmas Day, and like there will not be a single bit of friction. Everyone just gets on famously, has a drink, has a laugh, plays games, and then we all go home. It's lovely.
Yeah. See, that's the same on my side of the family, but it's not my side of the family that's the problem. It's my wife's side of the family. And that's what I've been introduced to. And that's what I have to sit back and look at. And I'd be like, yeah, you were not a nice person. Like, then everybody kind of falls in line around it. And it's something I'm not used to. And I say things. I put my foot in a lot of bad situations. So I'm like, I don't owe that dude anything. Just because he's older than me doesn't mean to say he has a right to speak to me like that. Things like that annoy me,
So you're Krampus, and Krampus arrives. So this little girl goes out, and we get the first look at Krampus, getting back on track.
I don't know why I'm venting so much about this. I don't know why it's become a problem. It's bringing up issues, man. We need to change conversation.
When Krampus arrives, like, I think they show too much too quick. Where you get Krampus like full on like superhero jumping across the roofs of the building. It looked cool. But I think I'd have rather not seen as much straight away. He looks great as well. And I don't know, like the jumping across the roofs is really cool. Her hiding underneath the truck is really cool. But then I felt really let down by the fact that you just see her drag him away, him drag her away. There's no...
I don't know. It works well because it kind of leaves that tantalization of, oh, is she actually dead? Like if we'd have seen her die, because she's a very main character at this point, it kind of leads to that anxiety of, oh, she should be all right. We're going to see her again later on within the movie. Obviously, we don't. But
No.
You see, I'm surprised that you went down that direction because I'm completely the opposite in terms of this movie because I like that they showcased it very early on because I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a Krampus movie. They've shown us what we're in for. It's not going to be one of those where we just see a hand come around a corner or a footstep through a door, and then we get the big reveal at the end. They're showcasing it now. So we know what we're in for. We know what it looks like. So let's just get to business. And then that's not what happens at all. It's basically a video game, and we're introduced to mediocre characters and then boss levels, and things get more and more harder as the game goes along until we finally get to the boss level at the very end, which is the titular character of the movie who doesn't show up apart from that scene till an hour and 20 minutes into the movie and does fuck all when he turns up. And it's like, what's the point of it being a Krampus movie?
Let's talk about some of the other lower level bosses. I want to talk about the gingerbread men.
These dudes, man, fucking hell.
They are one step away from being like the mini marshmallow men in the Ghostbusters series. They're entertaining, but like up until the point we meet them, this has got a very dark, very serious tone. And then all of a sudden you get these miniature gingerbread men running around going, wee, yay, you. And then they get shot with a shotgun and then they're on fire. And then one of them jumps and tries to stab like the Make America Great dad. And he's got a candy cane that he sucked the end down into a shank. And I'm like, I like this. Like, but I wish that, but I wish that this was the movie. I want more of this and less of the dark. Like, this is really fun. And I laughed a lot.
What's weird about the whole thing is this is labeled as a horror comedy. And this is the only comedy in the movie is this scene. And it feels so weird because everything else is not. Everything's very dark, very somber. There's a really eerie tone to it. And then the only things that are actually quite funny and laughable are these gingerbread man scenes.
Yeah.
But because it's so jarringly different to the rest of the movie, you're like, what the fuck is going on now? What is this? This is weird.
Yeah, so you've got these. You've got the Jack in the Box. I don't even know what that is. The Jack in the Box clown thing.
No, actually, no. The snowmen in the yard are my favorite. They are terrifying. But then the Jack in the Box is second.
Yeah, the Jack in the Box is weird though, because like I would of all the things in this, that would be the one I'm least scared of. It's attached to a fucking box. I just walk out the door. Like, what's it going to do? Hop after me? It's in a box. I'm not worried.
I think it causes the most carnage in the entire movie, though. That's got the biggest kill count as a Jack in the Box.
Yeah, it eats someone whole, doesn't it? I can't remember who it swallows whole.
Two of the shithead kids from the other side of the family, I think.
Yeah,
everybody else just gets pulled into the snow later on. That's it.
Yeah. Then you've got the killer teddy bear that attacks Berta, and that made me laugh a lot.
Actually, yeah, that's almost on the same level as a gingerbread man. The
Yeah,
teddy bear thing. I didn't like that. I like the angel owl thing. I thought that was creepy, dude. I did like that.
yeah, I like that. I wasn't a fan of the elves. I don't know if they're
No,
meant to
when
be
they
elves, but
burst through the wilder. Yeah, they were. They say it's the elves because the grandma turns on and goes, "Oh, we see hockey, and then the subtitles say elves.
Tonight we hunt.
That's it. And the elves turn up through the window. One of them was probably played by Warwick Davis, and they all just burst through with shitty
Yeah.
little masks on. I
Well,
wasn't a fan.
Warwick Davis has no morals. He'll do any movie, so he's probably in this.
Yeah, definitely. Don't say that to
but
Heather,
yeah,
though,
like
she'll lose her shit.
yeah, well,
This ain't Texas. Ain't no holding.
we're going to get copywritten struck for that. I'll have to probably take that out. But if I do have to take it out, just let everyone know I played This Ain't Texas again. I wanted, like, when they burst through the window, I was like, oh, this is cool. They're going to fuck everyone up, or they're going to like put everyone in sacks and take them away. And they don't. You get this Krampus scream, and they all go, oh, all right, he's going to deal with it. We'll all leave.
Well, they kidnap the baby, which was
Yeah.
kind of a bit weird, and then they also pull the big lady from
Berta.
They drag her through the window in chains, which she was quite cool with the way she went out. She's like, "I'll see you guys in hell," and then the chains dragged her out. I was like, "Yeah, you're still badass." So that was all right. But then, like the next scene with the actual like Krampus as he comes down the chimney and has his showdown with Nana was cool.
The chimney's cool. Like that, the effects on that look great, and the fact that it bursts because it's too big to contain him, and then he kind of like fits through the hole and just leers in. You get that shot like over his shoulder as he comes up, and little grandma just
we get a proper look at him as well, and he looks fucking fantastic. Like my Krampus for me, my go-to Krampus is from A Christmas Horror Story. Like that,
Yeah.
it's basically like Dwayne Johnson with horns painted in white, and that shit looks fucking badass. That is like the coolest Krampus on the planet. But I think this is very much in keeping with Krampus lore, the way that this one looks.
Yeah,
I'm the same as you. I'm not a big Krampus lore dude, but I live in Yorkshire, and there is a festival held in Whitby every year. It's like a Krampus festival. They do like a big parade through Whitby town, and they're all in the makeup and the get up and things, and they all look like the Krampus from this movie. So I'm assuming this is grounded in how it's presented in the actual lore.
Yeah, and I think like also Alex's movie Elevator Pitches, the segment he's got in there with his Krampus, that Krampus is very, very similar in tone and look to the Krampus from this movie. It's a
basically
more
like
modern
an old
take on
Santa
it.
head, but like hunched back forward and then half horse thing. It's
with
really
the
cool,
horns.
man. And the effects and the makeup design on it is incredible. And that's one thing that pisses me off so much about the Gingerbread Man is that the fact that everything else around it is really cool, like the creepy owl doll and the Krampus itself and all the visual effects that coincide with it, the creepy snowmen. Everything looks fantastic, and then it's just hindered by these stupid scenes that are flitted throughout.
Yeah, and like Krampus kills Grandma, then Krampus drags all the family are dragged away, and they're all going to be dropped down this big portal to hell. And the little boy comes and stands up to Krampus. Krampus picks him up, drops him in the hole. And this is where I kind of went, huh? What? Because he wakes up in his bed and it's all over. And he comes downstairs.
Get this first watch.
Yeah, so he comes downstairs and no one really is aware. And then he opens his present, and his present is a Krampus bell. And as he opens it, all the family like have this realization of, oh shit, yeah, Krampus was here earlier and he attacked us and killed us all. And then it pans out, and it reminded me very much of Jeepers Creepers, where it pans out and you see his lair and all the faces and shit that he's got. Like it does that, and this house is in a snow globe. I don't know. The
I get it now though, because it's like it's the first time I watched it, I thought, "What the fuck is this garbage? Are they dreaming? Was that even happen? What's going on? Is that real?" But now I get it. I watched it properly this time at the end, and obviously he just wishes for that Christmas. So now they live that Christmas in eternity forever. That is their hell, basically. is that same repetitive perfect Christmas. One thing I want to circle back to as well before we go off on it is that scene at the end with the whole hellscape opening up, and you've got the design of the reindeer sleigh and all the elves and all the creatures. Dude, that shit looks fucking badass, man.
Yeah.
Proper badass. And I was like, whoa, why is this not in the movie more? Like, we have watched all this shit because we spend a good 40 minutes of this entire movie listening to screaming. And I shit you not, it is just scream after scream after scream after scream for a good 40 minutes. Because I watched this movie with my headphones on and I had to take a break. I was like, fucking hell, man, this is intense. And then we get to this really, really cool 10-minute segment at the end. I was like, God, look at the potential this movie had. The design and everything that's gone into this is so cool. And you're using 30 seconds worth of footage to showcase it in this movie. What a waste.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd agree. And like, this movie doesn't leave a bitter taste in my own mouth or anything like that. It's a good movie, but like when I look at it and I look at the cast they had, and I look at some of the effects they done, like the early scenes, like with that really washed out snowy scape and Krampus jumping on the buildings, and then her being dragged away, and then later scenes like in the attic with the Jack in the Box. All of that is so dark and it's so genuinely scary, and Krampus himself is terrifying, and then they just scattered in like a fucking cuddly teddy bear with sharp teeth, and now we throw a couple of gingerbread men in there, and they, for me, yeah,
and that's it. And I think one thing that us horror fans tend to struggle with the most, and it's one thing that I always struggle the most with when I'm writing reviews, is that I'll watch a movie and then when I'm sat there processing it, I often think, right, that was really cool. But then because that was so cool, why didn't you use that more? And then you kind of go into this place where you're like, this movie has so much potential. But it's like, that necessarily wasn't their decision to choose to shy away from it. That's just from us as an audience would have preferred to see that side of it a little bit more. And it's like, is that the fault of the movie? Have they stuck to their creative decision to pursue what they did? And us as an audience are just clinching onto personal taste. And it's like, I don't know if that's the case with this movie. That's one thing that I tend to battle with myself quite a lot, but this time I think I'm genuinely right. I think that this is just massively squandered potential. It showcases some really incredible stuff and then throws it all away by spending 50% of the runtime on bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm sure we'll cover it in our roundup. Should we take a break?
Sure thing.
When you have finished this episode, why not head over to yourunpodcast.com and see what else is on offer. Launched at the start of the year, the network is a place for podcasters and YouTubers alike to showcase their fantastic work. Over the last 12 months, we have carefully curated a selection of 15 shows, bringing you something to suit all tastes. Movie reviews, TV series discussion, true crime, conspiracy theories, paranormal investigation, and crypt tales are a selection of what is on offer. Also on the website, you will find links to all of our socials, our shop, and our first feature-length film. The You Run Podcast Network really is your home of entertainment, so don't delay, get online and visit yourunpodcast.com and find your next binge-worthy experience. Now back to the show.
Thanks a lot, Gladys. Make sure you go and check out yourunpodcast.com. There is so much on there. There's actually 18 shows on there as of the 1st of January. There's everything from true crime through to movie reviews, every single genre, TV, music, like you name it, it's there. Also our shop and all the other cool stuff, all the links to our socials. So yeah, yourunpodcast.com. Go and check out some other network members. Last week, we specifically asked a question to our gay audience, and we asked the question whether it was offensive in Ginger Dead Man 2 for a gay man to be penetrated with curling tongs. We got a message.
Yeah, because I was like, are we being offended on your behalf? And this isn't even that offensive.
Yeah, so, well, let's find out. Were we being offended on other people's behalf, or did you offend people by saying exactly that?
Most probably. I always get it wrong.
Let's find out.
Hey, just finished listening to your episode, and I went onto YouTube and watched the kill that you guys were talking about with the curling iron and the gay guy. And personally, I wouldn't say it was offensive, but that's just me. The only thing that you could call slightly offensive is the ginger dead man calling him a fruitcake, but even that I found not that offensive at all. So yeah.
See, it's not
Yeah.
that bad. We shouldn't be offended by things on other people's behalf.
No, we shouldn't. And Jay kind of like just confirmed that and then reiterated it in a message like, nah, it was okay. But
And he doesn't even have any context to the character build up to that person either.
No, he doesn't. We got loads of comments last week. Loads of comments after our Ginger Dead Man episode. Dave commented on Spotify, hilarious. You need Heather on more. She's awesome. I concur.
Agreed.
She is. Mary commented, hilarious episode. And DJ Chasm, 5 curling irons out of 5 arses. That's arguably the best review we've ever had.
Take that, copy it, and paste it onto Spotify.
Yeah. No, we don't. That's the perfect Apple Podcast review. That is like I think I can pin an Apple Podcast review, and if I get that, if Chaz, if you do that, I will pin it as our top review. So when people click on our podcast, they get 5 curling irons out of 5 arses as our slogan. Facts for this movie. So the movie was meant to come out on the 25th of November, but it was pushed back to the 4th of December to coincide with Krampus. So this is the Austrian festival that you mentioned that's celebrated in your town. And this is where they have people dressed up in Krampus outfit and they come to punish the naughty kids. So Krampus is Austrian folklore. And it's basically, they do something in Germany called Krampus runs, where grown men dress as Krampuses and chase children through the streets and scare them.
And you see, the weirdest thing about it happening here is like, it's got no relation to us here, but because it's Whitby and it's like Bram Stoker's Dracula and they had the whole goth thing in October, they're just now adopting all the weirdest things they can take on. And now the Krampus run happens in like late February, I think. And they do the Krampus run thing as well. I mean, it's like a 40-minute drive for me, but it's weird, dude. Honestly, I've been. It's strange.
That's all. I'm all in for stuff like that. The director of this movie made a point of making the first half of this movie strictly Christmas. It was strictly a Christmas movie with no mythology, nothing at all, just a family being a family. Because he wanted it to be, when it takes the dark turn, he wanted it to be a shock. And then when they edited the trailer gives it all away. And he was like, oh.
Well, I mean, the title of the movie kind of gives it all away as well.
Well, there is that. You're an expert on fake snow. So what do you think the fake snow on the ground in this is made of?
Polystyrene.
No, it's made of those little beads you get inside nappies.
Is there beads inside nappies?
Yeah, so the absorbent beads that live inside nappies, that's what this snow is. Filled with they've just used it to absorb white liquid and then thrown it on the ground.
I did not know there was absorbent beads inside nappies. I thought it was just, I don't know, cotton wool and shit.
You obviously don't change enough nappies. Go and, when we're done recording.
I change nappies, but I just don't dissect them and pull them apart once they're full of shit, you know? I put it on, it's full of shit, I take it off and put it in the bin. That's about as far as my knowledge of nappies go. I don't know what's inside them and the mechanisms. They don't have like loose beads, do they? You'd have to pull that shit apart to be able to like get inside it and find out what's in it.
Yeah, you'd need to pull it apart. But yeah, they do have they're like little beads or little squares or whatever, and they expand, and that's what soaks the water up.
Right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this when I get in after recording tonight, and I will send you video evidence of what's inside a nappy.
Yeah, that's perfect. Bear in mind this was 2015, so nappy construction may have changed. Before I get called out on more fake facts. The kid who plays like the sweet little boy, he's not such a sweet little boy in real life. It's been reported by everyone on set that he flirted with every woman he met on set, regardless of their age. The director,
this dude's like 8.
Yeah, the director described him as He's a little player on my movie set.
No way.
Also, in the snow globes at the end, one of the
Yep.
snow globes contains the house from Psycho.
Oh, that's cool. That just triggered another thing as well. Is this a house from Home Alone? Like the hallway at the beginning looked very Home Alone-esque. I was like, is this something he's going to bring up in facts?
No, it's not the same. It's very similar. There is another famous house in this, though. So when you see all the power go out, you can clearly see the Amityville house in the background.
Oh, that's cool. You'll have to put some of that on your stories this week when the episode comes
Yeah,
out, 'cause I'd like to see
I
them.
will do.
I'm not going to go back and watch this movie for it. So.
We haven't done cover notes for a while. So we decided for this movie, after I read the cover note, we were doing cover notes. Look at how shit this is.
You better watch out.
It-
Yeah, and
it's-
that's not even like a song that goes with Krampus either.
No, it is really shit and really unoriginal. Yeah, our listeners didn't let us down. Where's Paul Photo? Whackety whack, get into my sack. He's a photographer. Spine Chill Cinema, deck the halls with screams and fear. They're a movie review account. Nate Mayer, don't let it cramp your style. Cramp spelt with a K.
Oh, I mean, it's an easy go-to, isn't it?
He's a writer. Ballads of the Bad. Ballads of the Badlands. Ballads of Bard of the Ballads. No, I can't even speak now. Right, stop. Hold on. Right, Bards of the Badlands, the Goat of Bar Humbugs.
Love it.
And there are TTRGP. For G. You've broken me. Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Killed in stereo this Christmas.
They are a TTRPG podcast. Right. I'm with it now. No, yeah, totally, dude. For Christ's sake, listen to Granny.
But that's right. That's the full moral of this entire story.
Yeah, listen to your elders, whether they've earned your respect or not.
Well, yes, this is very true. But she has earned it. If anything, this movie showcases she's a proper granny. She's always by the fire. She's always making tea in times of crisis. She's a
and
treasure.
Cookies.
She should be guarded at all costs.
I agree. One enthusiastic horror fan official. This Christmas, it's time to chill. And they're a horror fan. We've got 2 Christmas episodes.
Dude, whoa. I read the comments on Instagram this week and someone put, it's garbage day. And I fully laughed my ass off. And I thought, he's definitely going to put that in this week. And you didn't even go there.
I didn't pick it. I don't know
why.
why.
Whoever you are who commented and put, it's garbage day. You are a legend, sir. And I laughed for about half an hour afterwards.
Okay, but also It's Garbage Day was selected, but I didn't pick that one. I'm not being funny. You're co-host of this show. If you see one you like, you are able to DM me.
No, man, it's too much effort. I just assumed because it was so funny, you would have immediately picked up on it. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Very clever.
The thing is, I'm not a fan of that movie.
Why? How can you not be a fan of that movie? It's hilariously bad.
That's another conversation for when we finally get it on the show. We've done 2 Christmas episodes, but we haven't played a Christmas game. Not yet. We've done 2 quizzes, but no Christmas games.
Well, we did the Santa,
break.
didn't we?
Yeah, we're going to do a bit of a 4th wall break here. I put this episode together about an hour ago. So today we have a Christmas game, and it's called The Naughty List. It's probably not going to be the best game we've ever played, but it is a drinking game, which may add to the entertainment factor. So,
yes,
it's a Christmas
and for
edition.
those of you who are listening to this as well, just know this is technically mine and Scott's works night out, our Christmas do. You can consider this part 1 of part 2. So tune into next week's where we continue the antics because we're recording back to back tonight.
We are. This is a Christmas edition of Never Have I Ever, and it's going to give listeners an idea of how Christmassy we are and how not so nice people we are
Oh,
in
shit.
real life. So never have I ever. If you have, you drink. If you haven't, you don't. And I'm playing as well. So I'm going to get my
Right, brilliant.
drink because I know what these are. And there's a fair few of these that I'm going to have to drink. So never have I
And you can't
ever.
lie. You can't lie on this. This is a
No,
game of honesty.
it is. And if anyone's listening and you've got a drink in your hand, please play along. Never have I ever regifted an unwanted Christmas present. Have you never given a Christmas present you got to someone else?
No, it's take it to charity shop, man, if I don't want it. I don't like the idea of being caught out for regifting because that shit's awkward, man.
Yeah, I've done that. Never have I ever eaten sweets or cookies that were meant for my child. We're bad parents.
Referring back to earlier, we have a chocolate advent calendar that came from Granny that I eat on the daily. So
never have I ever given a present that I know is petty, but the other person doesn't realize I'm being petty.
say that again. I don't understand that one.
So never have I ever given a present to someone that I'm being petty. I've bought them a gift because I'm being petty of a comment they've made, and I've bought them a petty gift. So like, there you go.
Right, okay. Yeah, I've definitely done that.
Yeah, many times. Never have I ever given a voucher as a gift.
Okay, well, I bought 2 today for this year.
Never have I ever lied about a present being in the post when I haven't actually bought it.
Yes, we have friends and family overseas, and they're in Australia and New Zealand, and every year when it comes to birthdays, it's like, oh, we sent it. I don't know where it is, and then we're scurrying out to the shop that day.
This is bad. Halfway through, and I've done half a beer. This is not the way forward.
Mine's a 6.4% beer as well, by the way. I'm just letting you know that this is not a good game to be playing. I should have strategically planned the order of my drinks for this.
Never have I ever spent more than £1,000 on a Christmas present.
Never spent more than £1,000. No, I've never. That's wild. You spend more than £1,000 on a Christmas present.
Yeah.
What are you buying for £1,000 to give to somebody?
It was a ring.
Oh, dude, you fucking cliche, man. Who gets engaged on big occasions like birthdays and fucking... You don't do that, man. That is like the biggest cop-out ever. That's like one way of getting away from like, oh, well, I didn't have to buy you a Christmas present because I've tied in our engagement with the same thing so I can save a couple of quid. You tight ass.
Yeah, this is very true. Never have I ever given a birthday and Christmas present to someone who has their birthday in December as a joint gift. That's for your birthday and for Christmas.
No, don't pick that beer up, man.
I've not done that. We've got 2 kids' birthdays in November and December. Like my son's birthday was yesterday, and I've never done that because I think that's the worst thing in the world.
I was going to say that right. The fact that it was Kane's birthday yesterday makes more sense as to why you would write that question, because that is the weirdest thing ever to think that. People who have done that before, don't drink your beer, take a toaster to the bath, you shameful people.
You are bad people. Never have I ever lied to avoid visiting relatives at Christmas. No hesitation there. I've nearly finished my beer.
I like to avoid relatives on the daily, let alone Christmas.
2 more. Never have I ever snuck off from a family gathering without saying goodbye.
Oh, dude, I am the biggest Pink Panther on the planet.
We've discussed this.
I'm known for it on nights out and stuff. Like it'll get to the point where I'm either too pissed or I'm not enjoying the evening, and I'm just going to whip to the toilet, lads. I'll be back in a second, and that's it. I am gone. Yeah.
We've discussed this when we've been out before because we're both guilty of doing that, and we actually promised each other we won't do it. If one of us wants
We've
to
had to
leave,
be
we
like,
just say it.
pinky promise, look, we're both the same dude. Let's not do that to one another tonight.
Last one. Never have I ever got drunk early in the day on Christmas and fallen asleep early in the afternoon. Have you never done that?
Oh, dude, I get drunk from like 10 o'clock in the morning, but I'm a soldier. I'm here for the long haul. I don't fall asleep. I don't take naps.
No, I do
play the
take a
game.
nap. I feel really bloated and gassy now. That's an entire. I've literally done an entire beer during that game, which is like 4 minutes long. I shouldn't be drinking a pint that quickly. I'm going to let you round this up first.
Yeah. Oh, notes, because I actually took notes this week for my roundup. I feel like my roundups have been marginally less than they should be, considering my
Jesus,
reputation.
Mary and Joseph and you donkey, can we just move this thing along before it drives us all round the bloody bend?
No, I'm going to try and find some middle ground. So I'm not too long, I'm not too short. I'll find my wheelhouse eventually. But
You're just right.
Just right, yeah. Just that middle ground. But for me, I don't dislike this movie, but I don't love it either. If somebody said to me, "Would you watch Krampus?" I'd be like, "Do you smoke weed?" It's an okay film. It's the problem that I find with it is the potential that it showcases for art. I think the direction of cinematography, the editing, everything looks glorious. The set design is beautiful. Practical effects is amazing. It's hindered by its god awful CGI with the gingerbread man and that stupid teddy bear thing that comes in here, there, and everywhere. But like I mentioned earlier, it's like this video game level where it kind of introduces mediocre characters and it builds and it builds and it builds. And by the time we get to that grand boss level that's supposed to satisfy our taste buds, which we've been working towards, it doesn't do anything. It's basically just a fucking showcase of what's that thing that you get in video games where it's like the little like cinema scene, the little VT section.
Yeah, cutscene.
Yeah, it's like a video game cutscene. It's like you've been building to play that final boss fight, and your final boss fight is just a cutscene. You know, like that's what it felt like to me. I was like, this is a Krampus movie. Let's see some Krampus action, and it introduces it really cool early on, and then it's just not there. It's just there's nothing. There's nothing for him to do at the end. He kills Grandma in a cutscene with a bag of screaming toys, and it's just a shame, man. It's a shame because there is a lot here, and I like the concept of it. I like the concept of Krampus, and it dives well enough into the lore for me to buy into the story. Which let's be honest, it's a hard story to digest. You know, it's an evil Santa if you're being honest with yourselves.
Yeah.
But it does it in a way that makes sense and is believable. And then with the added introduction of Grandma's backstory and the cutscene that they showcase with her, with the animated segment as well, I thought was really, really clever and cool and a good way of showcasing that. It's just hindered by so many problems throughout, and it's a shame, man, because I think had they made the decision to not cast so many actors who are well known in such a comedy sort of environment, such as like Adam Scott and the hillbilly guy who I shamefully can't remember his name because I love him. He's great. I love him in Young Sheldon. I love him in so many other things that he's in as well. He's a fantastic actor, and I think he's really, really funny. But when you see these people pop up on screen, you're immediately expecting laughs and jokes from them. And this movie doesn't present that. They're all played in a very serious way, in a very serious light. It's not very often any of them crack any jokes whatsoever. But because you're on the edge of your seat expecting that laugh a minute from them because that's what they're known for, the tone's just off all across the board here for me. And again, I'm overanalyzing something that doesn't need overanalyzing. It's a very basic, simplistic holiday movie with a horror tone to it. But when your job is to break it down for a podcast, it's kind of hard not to fixate on these problems that it presents. And for me, it's a very middle of the road movie. It's a 2.5 out of 5. I think it's an enjoyable movie. It's not a great movie. It's not a terrible movie. If it came on TV halfway through when I was scrolling through the channels, I don't think I'd be hard pushed to turn it off. I'd probably sit there and enjoy the last 40, 50 minutes of it. But I couldn't honestly, hand on heart, turn around to you and say, you need to go out and watch Krampus. If this film never came across your path in your life, you're not missing out on anything. Trust me.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same as you. I mean, Krampus is good. It's fun. The practical works are great. CGI is a little bit dated in places. I don't have any major issues with the movie or the story. It's cast fantastic. I think Toni Collette in this is so good. Like seeing the comparison of this in Hereditary, she's as good in this as she is in Hereditary. She's just playing a very different role, and it showcases how good an actress she is. I think my only criticism is like pick a lane and stay in it. Either make this dark, moody, gothic Christmas horror that's all like twinkly lights on a snowy backdrop, or make the stupid, silly movie with gingerbread men on fire with shaven down candy canes as shanks. Like, pick one of those lanes and go with it, and I'll go all the way through that ride, and I'll be happy with either. But where they picked both and kind of tried to force them together, it felt forced together, and
Yeah.
it didn't do it for me. Like, I had fun with it. I don't think, like you, I don't think this is a movie that I would seek out. I watched it. I've probably watched this 10, 15 times, and it's okay.
Yeah.
But
it's that
like,
juxtaposition of things that they introduce, like the cast they present to you. You're expecting a laugh a minute, but you don't get the laugh a minute. So you feel very much on edge waiting for it, and it never comes. And like they do that weird thing at the beginning with the introduction of the Black Friday thing of everybody bursting through the shopping mall. It has no context to the entire movie. It doesn't come
no.
around any other time. And you're there and you're watching this and you're like, oh, I get it. Yeah, this is going to be a fun ride. And you build yourself up for something that never comes. And I don't know whether it's trying to lure you into a false sense of security with it, but it's, for me, it's just it's advertised as something it's not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not, if that makes sense. Like they're not trying to advertise it as a comedy, but then having these cast of characters who are all comedians and then not having them do anything funny throughout is just weird, man. I don't get it. And that's
Yeah.
not to say that comedic actors can't play serious roles, but this doesn't walk that line between serious and comedy. It tries to integrate too much, and you never quite comfortably know where you're sat with the film.
Yeah, I think a good comparison for this for like people who aren't massively into horror, because we get a lot of listeners who don't watch a lot of horror movies. If you took the cast of like Grown Ups and then threw them into a horror movie and they behaved exactly the same as they do in Grown Ups, but never deliver a punchline, that's how this feels.
Yes, that is
Like this,
the nail on the head. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
and the setup's there as well. Like there's so many times when gags are set up, especially between Toni Collette and Berta. Like the amount of times that she makes a comment and Toni Collette's like, and then stops herself because she's being a polite host. She stops herself from making the joke, and it's okay.
The thing is, for me, the one thing that I want to ask you is like, I'm there with you on that, and I understand what you're saying, but like, do you feel this movie would have benefited from going all the way? Do you know if they'd committed to it and they'd have had those drop-in punchlines throughout? Do you think that would have benefited and made this movie better or made it worse?
I think it would have made it worse. I think they needed to lean further the other way, further into the dark side of it. Take away the gingerbread cookies.
You have to take away the cast that are already in it. Then you have to take away Adam Scott. You have to take away the hillbilly guy. You have to take away the Anne. You know, you have to cast them as people who can be taken seriously in a movie like this. And then when those elements that come up with the gingerbread man, no, because I think even with that gingerbread man, because the CGI is so poor in that instance, like you can't get that all around chuckle because you're too busy laughing at the shoddiness of what they're trying to showcase. Like it's just like, oh, what the fuck is this? Not that ha ha ha, he's cracking a one-liner. You know, you miss the one-liner because you're too distracted by the awfulness of what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's where I was. I score it a little bit higher than you. It's a good movie. It's a 3 out of 5 from me. But yeah, that's Krampus. Next week for you, in about 8 minutes for me and Mark, we are going to be talking about Terrifier 3. This is going to be an episode because we've drunk a fair bit on this episode. We're going to continue. So yeah, tune in next week to hear
We've
the
been
rest of
arguing
our.
about this.
We have, and possibly not in the way that you might imagine.
No. Not.
It's definitely going to be an interesting conversation because we've spoken about it a lot, and we've both wavered with our opinions on multiple watches, and we're like, well, this, well, that, and I don't think there's many things we're going to agree on.
No. This is going to be a very conflicting episode, especially considering we were both on the same page early on in the days, and then after multiple rewatches, we seem to have drifted further and further apart with our opinions on this film.
Massively so. Like we both watched it and had one view. Now we've watched it a couple of times. We're both like in completely different worlds, like we watch different films. So yeah, there's that for next week. I hope you're all enjoying your Christmas shopping. I hope you're all ready for Christmas, and we'll catch you all next week. See you later.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
It's Christmas time, it's the time to be afraid. It's Christmas time, it's time to talk about being named. And on this podcast of horror, we'll spread a little fear. Watch a horror movie now and grab a beer. And then Scott mentions the actress's boobs, followed by Mark saying, come on, dude. This is the place to have fun and say a curse or two. You run podcast horror movie review. Watch a horror do it now, it's Christmas time. Watch a horror do it now, it's Christmas time. Watch a horror then listen to a great fun review. Run past Christmas. Do it now, it's Christmas time. Do it now, it's Christmas time. Watch a horror then listen to a great fun review. Run past Christmas. You run podcast Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.